Hi, Darla.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing great. So I'm so excited for you to come on my podcast, and I'm just so excited. Uh, Um, so tell me about adoption and fostering.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to say I am super excited to be here too. And I'm so proud of all the different things you're doing, and I've been following all of them. And so I am very humbled that you've asked me to be part of your show tonight. And okay, let's take it away. So, I have experience with both adoption and fostering. They were two separate experiences, actually. Our daughter that we adopted, we did not foster her first. She was a straight adoption. And we do have experience with fostering as well. So, is there any, I can tell you the stories for them unless you want to ask questions first, or I can tell you the stories and then you can ask questions, whatever works best for you.
All right. So the first question I have: Was it difficult? Like, okay, okay, what has been the difficult of adoption or fostering?
The most difficult part. Well, with the adoption, I would say it was the waiting period. Once we were matched with our daughter, waiting for her to come home was torturous. And it's kind of funny, though, in reality, it shouldn't have been because she got here longer or faster than if we were to have a baby naturally, waiting 9 months. But she was actually sick with pink eye and they wouldn't let her fly. So her flight kept getting delayed, and we would be so excited for her to come, and then it would be delayed again. So that was a little difficult. And I think as far as the foster care goes, the most difficult part with that, I would say, is all the things you have to do to make it happen. You just don't have a foster child come into your home. You have to take a lot of classes beforehand. You have to have all kinds of inspections of your home. They interview people close to you. So there's like a lot more involved than most people realize with doing so.
All right. Um, so you can get back to the story too.
Okay. So, our adoption story actually came first, our daughter Samantha. So we do have a biological son, which you know, our son Billy. He was born in 1998, and everything was fine with him. When we tried to have a second child, unfortunately, twice we had a miscarriage, and by the second time, we just decided it wasn't important to us if our next child was our biological child or not biological. We would love them just as much. So we applied for adoption. We looked into all different options for adoption. We looked at adopting from the state of New Jersey where we reside. Um, but in New Jersey, a lot of babies, if you adopt them, they want you to have more of an open adoption, keeping in touch with the birth family. And we weren't
Mm,
sure if we wanted to go that route or not. So we started looking at out of the country adoptions, and we settled on Korea because they had very good medical care for the infants that were getting adopted out. They were able to come to the United States and finalize the adoption here instead of us going to Korea. And we loved the way that they worked things there. So the babies that went into foster care were in foster homes, but only one child per foster home. And the foster parents would take pictures and videos of the baby throughout the time that they were there. And then when they came to us, they would give them a traditional first birthday outfit to wear and all pictures and videos so you didn't miss the first year of them growing up, which was really nice.
All
Oh,
right.
and then there's our foster care. You want me to share a little bit about the foster care situation?
Well, if you want to, you don't have to.
So, with our foster child, my husband is a marriage and family therapist and a school counselor. He was doing in-home counseling on the side, and we had been contemplating maybe having a foster child for a while. And it just so happened at that time that one of the children he was working with doing in-home therapy with was a foster child. And um, he knew that he would be someone that I would absolutely love and adore. And we ended up going through the classes and we brought him home with us. And he stayed with us for a year. We spoiled him rotten. It was wonderful having him, but unfortunately, um, it it didn't work out, and he had to leave, which was a very, very sad thing. It almost felt like a death of someone, like losing someone, because
Yeah.
he was such a part of our family for that year. But he is doing well in his new home, and I love that we were able to give him a home, and we had him in our home for the year that we did.
Well, that was the question I had on the list before. Um, so, like, what is he doing now?
So he is back with the family that um, we that he was with before we had him. They his initially, whenever you have a foster child, the goal is to get them to reunite with one of their family members, but that didn't work out. So he was eventually cut ties with his biological parents, where they didn't get visitations or anything anymore, and
Yeah.
he ended up just residing with this other family who actually lives in our town. So once in a while we do still see him, but it was just great when he was here, watching all the firsts and the things that he never experienced before that we were able to give him and do with him. It was a great experience.
Well, it sounds fun to have another foster child in the house.
Yeah, it I think the biggest thing that for people that are considering doing foster care to keep in mind is we didn't realize how intrusive it could be, because there's always people in your house. There's the social worker that's assigned to the case that comes often. He received counseling, he received different therapies. There were always people in and out of our house. There was a nurse assigned to the case. And so that's the one thing, is I felt like our home was not our usual home for that period of time. Taking him to doctor appointments, people need to really realize the commitment
Yeah.
of having a foster child. It's not just having someone live with you. It does change your lifestyle, and also can impact if you have your own kids in the home. So it's just something to think about. Like I said, it's a wonderful experience, but it's not for everyone, and they really need to think it through and make sure it's for them.
Yeah. That's what I was when I was doing the chatting with a friend of mine. Did the interview with her a couple of weeks ago, and she was telling me that as well.
Yeah, you know, all of the children are there for reasons that sometimes we can't wrap our heads around how different things could happen to them. So you just have to be patient and understanding and, give them the best life that they can have while they're with you. And, with the young man that we had, he was going to be a foster to adopt situation when they severed ties with the parents. However, if it's not that situation, potential foster families should keep in the back of their minds that the goal is always to reunite the foster child with a biological family member. So as much as you want to get attached and as hard as it is to not get attached, you always have to keep that in the back of your mind that there is that chance that they could go back to their other family. Um, but if you go into it having that in the back of your minds and just think about all you can do for the child while they're with you, I think you could have a good positive experience.
Yeah. You would think, always think about all the bad things that how they got adopted. That's kind of, you know, that's, but I guess when you adopt a good child or whatever you're dealing with,
Well, I think even, when you have your own biological child, you could have a child that has behaviors or, different things um, that could be difficult also. So you just kind of have to treat it in the same way. Um, but definitely, I think having a good support system, making sure that your family is all on board is really helpful too, because you don't want to go in it alone without other supports because it is a lot of work and a lot a lot of things. We still keep in touch with the lady that was in charge of our classes that we did. We just heard from her last week, and some of the people we kept in touch with also that were in our foster care group when we learned the different things, and also with our adoption with our daughter Samantha.
how is Samantha doing?
Samantha is doing wonderful. She just turned 20. Um, she is at work right now. She should be home soon, but something neat I'd like to share about her adoption is that, well, in Korea, one of their beliefs is that you can see a person's soul through their eyes. So when we were getting ready to adopt through this agency called Love the Children, the woman that was in charge asked my husband Brett and I to send pictures of the two of us and our son Billy close up so that she can see our eyes. And she got the picture, she stared at our eyes, and then she looked at the board of all the babies that were up for adoption and looked at their eyes. And that's how she matched us with Samantha. And it's kind of funny because we really don't even think about her being adopted. And I know it's hard for people that haven't been in this situation to understand how someone could say that you love the child the same and you don't think any differently of them, but it's the absolute truth. And sometimes I say things like, "Oh, when Samantha was born," and I'm like, "Wait, she wasn't really born when she came to us." It's you really do love them just as much as your biological child and don't really think anything differently of the situation.
Well, 'cause I'm happy that you have her. Um, that's a beautiful story, though. Um,
Now looking back, it's much easier to talk about, but at the time when I was getting impatient waiting for her to come, the owner of the agency told Brett to take me on vacation because I was driving her nuts calling and asking when she was coming.
I would be the same way. Um, um, was it like, did you guys go out there at all?
We didn't, but one of my friends, she went out there twice to get her child. Now you have to go to Korea. They changed it. You have to go to the different countries. Another thing that Korea asked of us is they wanted our age. They wanted to know how physically fit we were, um, our educational backgrounds, all different things. They wanted to just make sure that the child was going to a family, I guess, that was younger and took care of their bodies. I think over 40 you couldn't adopt through Korea. They were pretty strict with that, and we had a lot of paperwork to do. Our cousin on Brett's side of the family was adopted through the same agency, which is kind of neat. And yeah, it was just both experiences were a lot of paperwork and a lot of classes and time to prepare and make sure that, in both situations, that it's really what you want to do to move forward. Because if you go through with things and then you um, have a child, you can't just say, okay, I changed my mind. This isn't for me. Can you take them back? So you really have to take a long look at the positives and the negatives because there's both. And in my mind, the positives outweigh the negatives when you're doing foster care. But like I said before, it's just not for everyone, and you really have to look into all the different aspects that come with it.
Yeah.
Is this something you're considering doing?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Have you looked into doing any classes or anything yet?
No, I was looking, I was gonna ask the girl I was talking to. She said she would give me all the details to look up at the place in Kansas City.
Oh, that would be great. Well, I know that you're a very kind and patient and caring individual. So, I think that those are good qualities to have if you're looking into doing this. So,
Yeah, I was kind of like do the fostering or adoption. I don't know. But she said, well, you should have a partner or somebody to do it with. And I said, well, I'll wait till that happens. But
yeah. And then you can decide, like, there's always, like, there's straight, when you do foster care, they ask you if you're interested in just foster care or if you are interested in foster adopt. So those are kids that, um, are to the point where they may have their ties severed with their biological family members and they might be put up for adoption soon. Um, there's a little bit better chance that you'll be able to adopt those, but some people wanted to do just foster care and aren't interested in adopting. So in
yeah,
that case, they'd want to do the straight foster care. Something very interesting to mention, and I don't know if it's the same in Kansas City as in New Jersey, but when you do foster care in New Jersey, after age 5, um, if the child is over age 5, if they have any sort of a disability, or if they're any sort of a mixed race, um, they end up where they are in a different level category for adoption and fostering. Um, they are considered at a over 5 people want kids typically younger than 5.
Yeah.
So I believe the families actually end up getting a little bit more money because they want to try to get them placed, because they are harder to place, which I couldn't believe because to me, I mean, that's still young, but
Yeah.
that's how it was here. You do get quite a lot of money in the state of New Jersey for fostering. It could be like around when we did it. I mean, that was like 6, 7 years ago. It's around $1,000 a month that you get. And then you can get food stamps for the child, food for them, separate budget for like clothing and different things like that. But so unfortunately there are some people that do it almost as a business, where they have multiple kids and then they stay at home and that's their job,
Yeah.
but for kids that are just doing foster care, not foster adopt, if they're in a good, loving home, I guess that's what matters.
Yeah. That's true.
I'm curious though to follow your story with all of this and see how it ends up for you.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it happens.
I know you love being an uncle, so
Yeah.
gives you an idea of how you'll be with any other kids.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, when I was talking to my friend Jessica, she was saying, "Well, I think I can see you with an older child." I'm thinking, okay, that's cool. Um, I don't know, but if it was like two kids, I guess I could handle it. If it was older to younger, so they have somebody to play with.
Yeah, that's another thing too. There's you can mark down if you're willing to take a sibling group, because obviously they would love to keep kids together if they're a sibling group, but sometimes some people only want the younger ones of the sibling group. If there's older ones, they might get put into a separate situation. So there's a lot of different um, variables that fall into place with it and a lot of different situations. But, um, I my biggest belief, and I always say this, is what's meant to be will definitely happen. And I think if someone is meant to be with you or whoever it is that they're meant to be, it will happen for them.
Is there a lot of people with disabilities that adopt children?
Are there?
Yeah.
Um, I really don't know. I'm sure though that there are. Um, I don't know like what the statistics are with that. They didn't talk about that in our classes. That would be interesting to know, but um
There's some trying to figure out because I'm in a wheelchair, I know, and I don't know, just an idea. That's what my mom always says. Well, you're in a wheelchair. Is there anybody? I know it'll be hard taking care of kids, but I think I can do it if I'm around my nieces and nephews mostly all the time. Um,
yeah, and if, you were saying before, like if you end up with someone and you guys do it together, um I'm trying to think. I do know somebody that has a boy and she's in a wheelchair. Right? She has her husband that's helping her, but it worked out fine. There's some things that you can't do in that situation, but there's a lot that you can. And you know what? The most important thing is that you can give them love and patience, and those things you can give, you know. There's
Yeah.
people that can walk perfectly fine and they don't have the patience part of it. So, you know, you possess two really, really good qualities that are important. And I would consider more of your abilities and all the things you have to offer than, you know, the disability of you being in a wheelchair, thinking of that as a negative. You know, think of all the things that are good about it.
Yeah. Which is what I do.
Yeah. Especially if you have someone else with you. You know, that's only the physical things that would impact, but everything else would be fine.
What's the one thing, or like what's the um what kind of things did you do when she was little with Samantha? Like fun things you like to do together.
Well, um, so the day she came, we actually we rented a limousine to pick her up from the airport. She flew into JFK Airport, and it was my mom and my stepdad and my sister, Billy and Brett and I, and we all had on shirts that had her little picture on it from when we were matched with her. And we went to the airport. And when she came off the plane, she had an escort that brought her from Korea to the United States. And she had three pigtails on her head. It was the cutest thing. And she gave Brett a big smile, and I'll always remember that moment because they warned us that most kids come off the plane and are crying because they've been on the plane for 14 hours, but not her. She had a big smile on her face, and we brought her home and she was confused between day and night, and she stayed out the entire first night that we had her, but that was fine because I was putting all different dresses on her and taking pictures of her, and we were so excited. So it was really fun. But for her first birthday, we had a traditional Korean first birthday party because it's a really big thing in Korea, the first birthday. And she wore what's called a hanbok. It's a first birthday outfit that her foster mom in Korea made her. And it was kind of like a welcome home and first birthday in one, because when we got her, she was 7.5 months old. That was great. But you know, we took her to the boardwalk and to the beach and swimming in the pool because we did get her in August 12th, which is considered her gotcha day. That's what they call it. Um, when your baby comes home to you. And so she's lucky. She gets to celebrate her birthday and gotcha day. But it was a great first summer, giving her all those first experiences, and you know, just watching her, and um yeah, it was just wonderful.
Um, so you say she has a job now. So does she? I know I was looking on Facebook at the time. She's in school. Um,
Yep, she goes to college. She's a sophomore in college, and she also works a lot too. So she keeps really busy. The interesting thing is in the beginning, we tried to give her a lot of her Korean traditions, and you know, wanted her to stay connected to those roots. We had a lot of different we would go to Korean restaurants, and we had Korean music that we bought for her to listen to. But I asked her when she was a little older if she wanted to go to Korea for they do like heritage tours for their 16th birthday. And she said, "No, I'm not interested." She never had any interest with going to Korea or exploring Korea. she kind of felt like I she always says, "I feel like I'm an American. I was raised here, and you guys are my parents," and that's just how she was. I mean, I'm sure there are people that, want to go to see their birth country or, foster parents, but she didn't want to, but we always gave her that opportunity. We wanted to make sure that, you know, that those things were, if they were important to her, they would be important to us as well to, be a part of her life, but she just chose to not want to pursue any of that.
Does she have a favorite food from where she was born?
Samantha, everything is her favorite food. She is a little teeny tiny thing, but she loves to eat. As far as Korean food, she does like something called japchae, which is kind of the Korean version of lo mein is the best way to explain it. Um, but she is quite an eater. She loves food, which we always tease her because she's so tiny, but she eats everything. Yep. I told her today that I was going to be doing this with you, and I said, "Do you remember my friend Dan that you met when we visited Kansas City?" And she was like, "Oh, yeah, I remember him." And she was like, "What kind of things are you going to talk about?" And, I told her a little bit about some of the things we would talk about. And I wish she was home right now because I'd even let you say hi to her and you can ask her some questions, which would be kind of neat to talk to the adoptee um, as well. But I will definitely let her listen to this, though.
That's fun. Do you have a favorite meal from that country?
Did what? I'm sorry, I missed part of what you just asked.
Do you have a favorite meal?
Do I have? Actually, I like the same thing that she does. We make it actually, and we go to there's a Korean grocery store. It's a little bit, oh, like about an hour away. But we try to go to it like twice a year and bring back things so that we can make the japchae and a few of the other little treats that we get from there. But yeah, that's our favorite thing from there. But we do go to the Korean restaurant and the grocery store at least twice a year.
Oh, well, that's fun. Fun, fun, fun. Um,
It's very good. If you've never had it, I recommend trying it.
oh, the noodles.
Hmm. Just Korean food in general. They have like hot pots that they cook in front of you, and it's really tasty. I mean, it definitely tastes different than your traditional Chinese food, but it's good. Definitely give it a try if you've never tried it.
Yeah, I might try that. When it's not the next time I go out. Uh, any let's see. You have any other questions?
Trying to think if there's anything else. So I was thinking about this before of just what was important to let other people know. I just think no matter what, whichever way you go, foster care or adoption, there may be, it may not be the easiest path, but when you do it, it's definitely worth it for you and for the child. It's um it's definitely one of the best things that's happened to us for sure.
I'm very excited to do it. I just need to figure out when find somebody to do it with.
Mm. Well, when you start looking into any of that and you need any help, I mean, I know I'm not in Kansas City area to help, but
Yeah.
if there's any pointers or anything that I can do, I'll help you with anything you need.
All right. Thanks. Um, well, most of the questions that I have, I feel like we mostly talked all about them. Um,
Yeah, if anybody, ever thinks of anything that they specifically have a question about, they can always, reach out to you and you can put them in touch with me. I don't mind answering any questions, especially with something that's so important and so life-changing. It
yeah.
really helps for people to get the advice of other people and not just the good. You want to be realistic. So you want to hear the good and the bad because, it is a difficult process to go through. It
Mm,
is a lot. And so, you know, it's important that you hear both sides, the good and the bad, but just remember that the positive far outweigh all the things that are difficult. It's worth every bit of it.
thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this with me.
Thank you again for asking me. It was really an honor to be asked to do this, and maybe one day we can do it again, but with Samantha.
That'll be fun. I'll let you know when everything is up.
Okay.
Well, have a great night and talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks, Dan. Take care.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.